Okay, guys, welcome back to part two. We've got about 4 knives left. This is the anchor knife, small. You can take it as red unless I tell you otherwise. That all the knives that come in two sizes, like the anchor knife or the sod buster or the Hippig, they're always the small because 3 3/4 or 3 5/8 or whatever it is, a blade just doesn't run in this country. There's no point. I've got knives that are locking knives, which I will show you. Not today, but you're very limited in what you can do with them. So this is the anchor knife, or finger nipper, as it is known affectionately in this house, because I took the end off one of my fingers. That one, I think. In an accident where I got up and I checked it in the morning like that, as I always do, just to make sure that I don't need to put it on the strop before I have my morning coffee. I folded it like that, and as I was closing it, somebody said something, or I was distracted, or I lost concentration, and I dropped it. And as I dropped it, it snapped shut, and the end of my finger was there. Beautiful, beautiful back spring. And it took the end of the finger off like the end off a tomato. This is in stainless steel, by the way. Not long after I had it, I was trying to put an edge on. I would get an edge on it, and I put it through one of those carbide sharpeners. God, they're a pile of shite, aren't they? They're awful things, and it knocked a chip out of the blade. And it only took me, my son laughs at me because I think it took me 3 weeks of obsessive sharpening and working and examining and using and then going back and staring at it till I got that chip out. But it does take a very, very good edge. This is the Otter Stainless, and this is the Otter anchor knife. If you want a proper review of the anchor knife, Vinny's Day Off, he has a proper review of this knife. He puts it to work in a way that I wouldn't have imagined was possible. What a guy. Right. In a similar vein, this is the Otter Weaver knife. Again, a sort of Warncliffe meets sort of a bastard love child between a Warncliffe blade and a sheep's foot. This is the direct German equivalent of the tackler. Basically it's the same knife. It's the same function. It comes out of mills, out of cloth mills. I love this knife. I love the swell and jack pattern. I like cigars. I'm Catholic about my handles, but I think the swell and jack is just really nice, and it's just big enough. I got a big hand. Big palms, long fingers, strangler's hands. Somebody once told me. It wasn't, but it fits well. It's very robust. Now you can take this as a win or as a weakness. I don't know. They all come with the Otters, or my Otters anyway. The new ones, you can get some new ones, but you pay. You have to offer a blood sacrifice to get one. But these ones come with steel liners. And I had a moment a few weeks ago where I tipped a glass of water on my bedside. Now, my daily carry, the bits and pieces I have in my pocket, including my knife and my glasses, all sit on the bedside. Knocked it over, knife got a bit wet, I dabbed it off, went to bed, went to sleep. When I got up in the morning, it was rust, right? Carbon steel, that's what you got to get. But if the rust gets in there at all, they just don't self-lubricate quite as well as, say, a brass liner will. So you just got to watch them. You got to keep them a little bit more oily. But this is a fantastic knife. This went out of production, I believe. It stopped being available, or they just withdrew from the website. I don't know. Anyway, it's back and still available for Moonrakers. We're a great bunch of folk, and it sold me a lot of knives. And then finally, you have the Hippig knife in small. This is the original one. This is that I had. This is the in sapelli wood. The blade, as you can see, is a little bit. You can see it's slightly different shape. It's slightly worn. I'm not sure if I didn't reprofile it slightly. This thing is breathtakingly sharp. I hardly ever have to touch it, and I've cut through all sorts of stuff. Cut into aluminium before now. Trimming a roll of a blind, and it still didn't turn the edge. It's once that C75 steel, once you get it the way you want it on these blades, you'll be a very happy person, and you won't have to do much work. And that's the one with the grenadille handle, which I talked about last year. This is a great knife. People mark it down because it's got a thick handle. I think only thick people mark down a knife having a thick handle, because you want something to hold on to. As I say, really good back spring. Takes a good age, nothing to say really. It's nothing to see here. This is a class piece of kit, but they all are, and they all. Some of them are better at doing different things. Some of them are great at getting into a joint. Which one was I using the other day? Oh, I forgot one. I forgot the one I'm carrying today, guys. So there's plus one more. This is the latest edition, and this one really knocked my socks off. And I'm sorry to say that if you like what you see now, what I'm about to show you, you better move quickly, because it's a case. It's their 2021, what they call their Vault release, which is a pattern that they've retired and then they bring it back. They bring it back for a year. So availability might be an issue, and that is the Copperhead. This is the case Copperhead, again in CV steel in yellow, because that's what, right? Back spring could be a little bit stronger. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this. This is not like the Buck Slippies. There's nothing wrong with it. I do find that when I'm stropping point forward, sometimes she just has a tendency to, against, if you're pushing against the leather, especially if there's a bit of stropping compound on there, to create a bit of friction, she does fold slightly, but nothing really, nothing to worry about. Nice clip point blade, good length, good usable length, nice long handle. I grew up in Australia. I've seen a lot of snakes. I haven't seen an American Copperhead except in pictures, but I cannot get a snake's head out of that bolster. But that's what it's named after. It's named after the American Copperhead, which I think it's probably it's a viper, I suspect. And then it's got a pen blade. There are other manufacturers. I know Rough Rider, for example, do a Copperhead, and they do a Skinner and a clip point, and that would be my preference. But I do find that I use this pen blade. Perhaps I'm odd. Most people would keep the pen blade super sharp and use it for for delicate operations. I tend to keep this usable and use it for everything else, and save the big blade in a true traditional late 18th century, early 20th century backwoodsman's tradition. You keep your big blade for the good jobs and the small blade for the rough jobs. I find this fine. I like it very much. It's a good sized pen blade. Although as a Victorinox carrier, I'm not short of a pen blade, but there you are. But that's been floating my boat for some time now. I think I've had this one, not for months and months, but certainly for at least a month, and it's hardly been out of my pocket. It's one of those sort of knives. It's one of those, and all you kit junkies out there will know what I'm talking about. There are certain things. Sometimes you go out and you buy a piece of kit, like my felt hat. You buy a piece of kit and you take it to yourself, and you know it's right from the moment you bought it. I've had that experience with this knife. It really does work. If you guys would like to see a full-blown review, happy to do that for you. Just a couple of comments down below will do the job. I'll know there's some demand for it. But I like this very much. This is the Case Copperhead in CV steel. Okay. Righto, guys. As I said, we're back, and we'll go outside next time. I've got as chap I know on YouTube did a video, and I'm going to do a video response to his, but I'll fill you in on that on the day. In the meantime, this is Steve, wishing you every blessing, health and happiness. God bless, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.